everybody. Welcome back to It Shouldn't Happen to Us. On today's episode, we discuss resisting the urge to show up and throw up. You know what I'm talking about. Relying on features, benefits, and a fabulous presentation to bring the prospect over the line. Carlos shares a current story, and we share why you shouldn't do it. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and like. Straight from Miami, this is It Shouldn't Happen to Us. After 30 plus years of selling and training sales teams, we still screw it up sometimes. And this is where we tell you all about it because it shouldn't happen to us. Whoa.
Whoa, Sophia and Carlos are in the house. How are you?
Hello, ISHTUers.
ISHTUers, yeah. Who
Oh,
are the ISHTUers?
I don't know, it's a dance group.
A whole new type of
Dance group, choreographer.
Nice.
ISHTUers.
Sophie, ISHTUers. What have we got for you today, Sophie and Carlos? Today, what are we going to speak to the gang about today, Sophia?
Well, gang, today we're talking about please resist showing up and throwing up. Don't do it. Don't show up and throw up.
Show up and throw up. It's interesting. I was talking to a client about this yesterday. Okay. So tell the gang what you mean by show up and throw up, because, hey, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment. By the way, what a great film Devil's Advocate was. Have you seen that with
I don't think so.
Charlize Theron and Al Pacino? Funny how Charlize Theron and John Wick actor, that guy. Brilliant. Anyway, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment, and I'm going to say, well, wait a minute, Sophia. Aren't salespeople supposed to explain what it and tell the buyer, the prospect, all about their products? Isn't that their job? Whoa, go, Soph.
Whoa. Well, before the 21st century, before the birth of the World Wide Web, that's what salespeople existed for, was to spew information, features, benefits. Such a great story to tell. Well, it started with my father. Go back to the black and white film, history of the company, how we do what we do. It starts with the best of the best plastics manufactured in Pennsylvania, right? That's what salespeople used to do, was show up and throw up like a walking, talking website and brochure. And then boom, the birth of the internet, www.com, now exists. And salespeople oftentimes still fall into the trap of showing up and doing a razzle-dazzle features and benefits presentation, and then are completely record scratch surprised when the prospect does not give them credit card information at the end of the sales call.
You know, it's interesting that you make that comparator to sort of like 1970s, 1960s sales, right? 1980s sales, where a lot of these habits were formed.
Trifold.
Prior, right? Even, the bifold brochure and prior to most of our clients, most of the people we know in sales, they weren't even born, but those habits were formed. They were formed in companies and in our sort of psyche about sales. Do you know, I was reading and listening to about one of the great ad men, a guy called David Ogilvy, who started O&M, Ogilvy and Mather advertising agency. I think I've pronounced that right. And he was, widely considered to be kind of like one of the titans of the Madison Avenue ad guys in the 60s and 70s. And the guy was truly a genius. I mean, I've got a list here of his maxims that are absolutely fabulous. But right in the heart of these marketing messages was this idea of educate the client. Oh, gives me a chill, right? Educate the customer.
The heebie-jeebies.
Educate. And we know it doesn't work in sales. But the context that this is set in is marketing. And it makes me scratch my head. Does it still apply in marketing to educate the customer? And maybe it does. Maybe that has merit.
But then maybe it does a little bit in every industry. Guys, ISHTUers, listeners, the message here isn't never educate the prospect. The message here is dragging your prospects through the weeds, getting into how the sausage is made is not what closes deals. And here's the thing, Carlos, we know this. Every once in a while, you'll get a prospect that's like, so Carlos, show me what you got. So man, what do you got for me? And we fall right into that trap.
Well, let me tell you, this is happening to me tomorrow. I'm so disappointed.
Triggered.
I feel so triggered. I'm having a moment. I'm having a traumatic moment.
I know it.
What is it you say? Trauma. What did I hear the other day? Trauma isn't you can't let go of the past, but the past can't let go of you.
Oh,
I'm having a traumatic moment. I'm being pushed into a show up and throw up tomorrow.
No.
I'm in the middle of a sales process that's gone so thoroughly sideways on me. And I've got a meeting tomorrow. It's in the book, and I'm like, I'm conflicted about whether just to cancel this bloody thing. Partly because it's a complete waste of 30 minutes, because I already know the right answer is no. Part of me, but I feel rude cancelling it. Part of me says, do I just restart, which is technically the right thing to do? But I'm feeling all triggered, and this is like, it's just gone sideways on me. I think actually the right thing to do is just to give it to you. I'm going to recover this. I'm not going to do the meeting tomorrow. Tomorrow, what is expected of me tomorrow is a show up and throw up. Here's my analysis on your problem, Mr. Prospect. Here's my suggested solution. Here's why that's going to work. Education, education, education. It's, I think there's a place for education in marketing for sure. I think there's a place for education, a little place for education in selling, but it
shouldn't be your crutch. It don't be your crutch. Like if manufacturing sales folks, we love you, and you're an ISHTU listener, so you're automatically VIP. But if you're giving your prospects tours of the manufacturing plant, it's like showing a prospect pictures of your kids. You think they're cute, and they're your kids, but your prospects don't really care that much. It's if you're relying on it in tech sales, software sales, if they could only see the product, it takes me back to when I was selling advertising, when I was selling cable advertising on networks like ESPN, Bravo, HGTV, Fox Sports, MSNBC, CNN. I always thought I would create these presentations and these amazing advertising campaigns, and I would think to myself, how are they even going to say no to this? Why? And I would do the analysis based off of women's viewership between ages.
It's so beautiful. How could
the data, the research shows that women between the ages of 28 and 52 that have searched cosmetic surgery recently are watching these networks and these times. And I was like educating them. And I thought to myself, there's no way they're not going to buy this. There's just no way. They weren't.
And guess what? I bet a lot of them didn't buy it, right?
A lot of them didn't take my recommendation. I would take it personally, too. I'd be like, this is my recommendation that I'm educating you on. Hello.
I'm being, it's expected of me tomorrow to show up and throw up. And I didn't gracefully resist it. You know, I didn't gracefully resist it because it just, the whole energy of that sales, that discovery call was out. And I'm the discovery master. I normally do fabulous discovery, but it was all out. It all felt wrong. There was no, I didn't have a good empathy with my prospect. I should have just called it there and then. What do we always tell clients? If you feel it, say it.
Say it.
I should have said, do you know what? This feels all wrong. You know, we either reset this, start again, or we should just part as the best friends ever. Christmas, you're on my Christmas card list forever. I should have just said, listen, I'm out of this. And we've got an embarrassment of riches in our pipeline. We've got an embarrassment of riches in our client base. I don't know why I always feel so emotionally connected to a pipeline opportunity. I always make this mistake. I'm emotionally connected. I'm an emotional animal. And, I honestly think it's because I care too much about what they think. What is it Pilatos used to say? When you care what the prospect thinks of you, they own you. I care way too much. Way too much. And I know you do too.
I do too, Carlos. I'm not laughing. But, I did have a great moment today. I will say I had a Regain client. This was someone who used to be in our absolute sales development program. Love him. We loved him. Did the exercise of that the phone calls. Listened a couple episodes back, ISHTUers, about the exercise of, hey, just your network is your net worth. Call people. Well, out of that exercise, it actually works. It actually works. I had a Regain.
Wait a minute. Does it actually work, Soph? Like actually calling people actually works?
It do. So it actually works. And so I had a conversation with him. But I didn't really sense a lot of urgency, and I followed my process, and I resisted showing up and throwing up. So I'm feeling a little high and mighty, but it still happens to me. I still find myself showing up and throwing up sometimes.
Well,
but I am feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, I know, but I know that you also get a little upset when they don't like fall in love with you. I do.
I'm like, what's wrong with I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but typically I'm people's cup of tea.
Yeah.
And when I'm not, it's a real head scratcher for me.
It is me too.
I'm
I
feeling
get all mixed up about it. I get all emotionally mixed up. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this jacket feels wrong on. It's like the wrong size. I'm like, wait a minute.
I love that you're holding your emotional support magic wand.
Yeah, I've got my magic wand. This is my emotional support. But I feel like I need it today.
Yeah. Don't worry, you're still a perfect creature of the universe, worthy of love simply because you exist.
I'm a radiant being, right? I need to forgive myself first, and I should practice that more.
But
you're right. To go back to topic, show up and throw up. Here's what I always tell our clients, and I really need. I think I'm pretty good at learning this. I've learned this lesson, but for some reason I need to relearn it and relearn it.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't buying our program. They ain't buying our program. They ain't buying your product. If you're listening to this and you're in sales, guys, they ain't buying your product and they ain't buying your service. They're buying their pain, their problem, and your conviction. That's what they're buying. The throw-up piece, the piece where you got to show them what they're going to buy, that's there only to confirm the buying decision that was established in the discovery phase when you're asking those great questions. If you believe, and I do believe, that tomorrow I'm expected in a meeting where my presentation, my solution is carrying the weight of the decision, is got to inspire the decision. That's how I know I'm in trouble. That's how I know I've got this wrong, because I'm conscious of the fact that tomorrow my presentation has got to make them think, yes, I want to do this. That's how I know I've made a mistake. The presentation tomorrow should be to inspire somebody to say, yeah, I knew I was right. This confirms a decision that had already been made. This is confirmatory. This is the icing on the cake. It isn't carrying the whole weight of the decision. And I know I've got to go in tomorrow and tap dance. And I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
It's like you didn't enthusiastically consent to showing up and throwing up, but you didn't resist it. What was it about that discovery call that caused you to succumb to? Was it pre-call plan? Was it mindset? Was it just wanting them to like you? Why did you want this person to like you specifically?
It's a great question. Well, I want everyone to like me because I'm because what you always say, we are all 5-year-olds, right? We're all 5-year-olds.
Yes. So, yeah.
You know, the inner child was terrified of being scolded. But do you know, it isn't that I consented at all. What I've realized now, it's such a good question to ask. The power of a coach, right? You're such a cool coach, though.
You see that? Thank you, Carlos. So are you.
Did you notice it? Listeners, viewers, did you see the coaching? Here's the thing. It isn't that I consented to it. It's that I knew, or I certainly didn't think the decision had already been made. I knew it. I should have said to myself, do you know what? This buyer hasn't decided yet. So this is no place for my presentation. I can't bring my presentation into a room that's undecided. My presentation only goes into a room that's decided and is there to satisfy the sort of analytical confirmation that somebody who'd already decided to buy is confirming that was a good decision. I just didn't listen to that inner voice. I should have. And you know what? We've just created a new gate. Boom. New gate in our gate selling model. Has there been is there a strong indication that the buyer has decided to buy, and the if not, no place for a presentation. We need to go more discovery, more questions. If yes, magic. Take your presentation in, take your contract in, go for the close, drag it over the line, control that deal, control it all the way over the line. But I didn't. I am absolutely confident.
You know, the presentation, folks, the presentation is like an engagement ring. If you're going to propose to your partner, you should probably be 99.9% sure they're going to say yes. Right.
You
The
know,
presentation.
I
Yeah.
proposed to Carolina in on an island off in Colombia, an island somewhere off Cartagena in Colombia, and I said to her, we should get married. And she said, yeah. So I said, do you think we should get married? And she said, yeah, we could get married. And I got the ring out and she went, oh, what? Really? I was like, okay, yeah. I was not 99% sure.
It wasn't a hell to the MF and yes.
It wasn't a hell yes. It definitely wasn't a hell yes, but I'm an old romantic. But
yeah,
no,
I
right.
love
You shouldn't
that.
prepare. You shouldn't propose until you know it's going to, a 99%
certainty. Yeah.
And you shouldn't present unless 99% certain that decision was already made.
You know, Carlos, this reminds me of Antonio used to do this graphic on the whiteboard where he would say down, he would like do a little scribble line. He'd be like, down here is a sea of 90 people, 90 companies that do exactly what you do within a 50-mile radius of your business.
Yeah.
And these people down here are dumb salespeople. And then he'd put like a little blob on top and he'd be like, this up here is the trusted advisor. And this is the one that sticks out from the crowd of 900 people that do exactly what you do, that say the exact same elevator pitch. So how do you set yourself aside? What's the difference between dumb salespeople and trusted advisors? And Antonio used to say, dumb salespeople answer really dumb questions, and trusted advisors ask really smart questions.
Really smart questions, yeah, really smart.
But hey, we got to talk about what the psychology of what's happening in the room too. You're in front of a prospect that for some reason this prospect is triggering some type of trauma where your 6-year-old is now your inner 6-year-old is trying to be a part of an adult conversation. Okay.
Right. The adults are speaking, and the 6-year-old's trying to get in there, right? Trying to like bring a little story of Dora the Explorer into the conversation.
Yeah, it's cool to take a look at the psychology of what's happening inside the noggin of each participant of the sales meeting. And all of a sudden you find and what do children do? They're compliant. They answer questions. They answer questions when they're asked questions. They ask for concessions from their managers. They ask for permission. And next thing you know, you're getting back in your car or you're leaving Zoom meeting with deliverables. And those deliverables are a razzle dazzle presentation that's supposed to really, I don't know, what's this like? What it's a little tap dance.
Little soft shoe shuffle, a little dance.
Yeah, kickball change.
Yeah, little tap dance. Do you know, it's interesting what you say, actually. So Simon Sinek, you know Simon Sinek?
Yeah, I have an intellectual, boy, do I ever have a major crush on Simon Sinek. If you're listening to this, Simon, is you single? No, I'm kidding. I'm not single.
So likelihood of Simon Sinek listening to our podcast. Let's make that our goal for the year. Let's interview Simon Sinek.
Oh my, yes, listeners, if you know him, if you know his manager, if you know somebody.
Idea. If you know his manager. Maybe you know his neighbor, his next door neighbor.
You know his mom, anyone. Yeah.
So Simon Sinek says the best sales and management book that's ever been written was actually a parenting book. It's a book called How to Speak So That Children Listen, How to Listen So That Children Speak. It's the best title ever, right? How to Speak So That Children Listen and How to Listen So That Children Speak. Interesting. I mean, Simon Sinek's a super smart guy, right? Interesting that he chooses a parenting book as his standout, best ever book on sales and management. Isn't that a fit with kind of what you've been saying and what we're all saying? This is a psychological journey. This is what I love. And when I say love, I mean deep down, like a real primal love of sales, because it's this magical place where psychology meets economics, meets mathematics, meets
communication,
It's just such a magic confluence of extraordinarily interesting topics. This topic that we're talking about today, how amazing is it that we can sit here, we can analyze a sales call, and we can take out of it that thread that's going to be hugely valuable. Now we've done the analysis. We can take out of it a thread. We can create a system or a policy around it, like we just said, new gate in our gate selling model. You don't turn up with a presentation until you've got some level of confidence that decision has already been made. Otherwise, you've got to go back to questions, because we know answers don't create sales. As I'm going to go back to David Ogilvy. David Ogilvy, who's an ad man, said it's not the ink, it's the think that sells product. It's not the ink, it's the think. Which means, yeah, you've got to create a great message, but it's what thinking does that create? His most famous ad was an ad for Rolls-Royce. And his most famous ad was an ad that ran for like 20 odd years. I'm a bit of a nerd about David Ogilvy at the moment, because I'm
nerd alert.
Whoop, whoop. I should have a whoop, whoop sound.
Whoop, whoop.
I got whoop, and whoop. He said his most famous ad was this. It said, at 60 miles per hour, the loudest thing in the car is the sound of the electric clock. Or the only thing you can hear is the sound of the electric clock. It's one of those. But it was designed... sorry, I'll do it again. At 60 miles per hour, in a Rolls-Royce, the only sound you can hear is coming from the electric clock. Because you can imagine in the 60s, click, 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 like with the... And that's so cool, because that is really making somebody think. How much more powerful is that than saying we're the quietest car on the road? It's the think, not the ink. And it's not that our questions are designed so that I get information. Yeah, of course our questions are designed so that I get information. But more than that, they're designed such that you, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, think. And as you think, you discover something new. David Sandler said, until you've made the prospect think differently, you've not earned the business. So you think something new. As you think something new, you make a decision to work with me. And now the presentation is just about confirmation of that decision. How cool is sales that we can analyze that sales call, pull out that thread of realization, create a process, a system from it, an insight from it that's going to make us stronger, and it's going to pay us back way more. That realization is going to pay us back way more than that one little small deal, even if I close it or not, who gives a shit? The learning, the compound interest on that learning is worth $1 million, that one little thread, don't you think?
I do think, and I concur. What a great episode this has been.
I feel moved. I feel moved.
Edified.
So do you know what I think everyone should do? Everybody listening to this, if you're listening to it on a podcast, get to your podcast, whatever your hub is, and hit subscribe.
Hit subscribe. You know where to find it.
You know where to find
it.
And if you're on YouTube, you smart people, if you're on YouTube, do yourself a favor, click subscribe, hit the like, tell the algorithm you love Carlos and Sophia. Because when you do that, that's our reward for bringing the insights, right? For screwing it up, because we screw it up every day.
Putting ourselves out there.
And I challenge anybody else to go into and find there are loads of sales podcasts. Go and find other people saying, yeah, we screw it up too. I promise you, all of them screw it up.
We all screw it up.
We're the only ones that admit it. That's all. We're the only ones that admit it. Why?
And share with us.
Admit it. And share with us those ISHTU moments, right? We had a few texts this week and a few messages this week with some ISHTU moments. We should do that. And send us some questions. Guys, love you lots like jelly tots. Good selling this week. It's goodbye from Sophia.
And goodbye from Carlos. Thanks for listening.